The Laker Movie Nerd Review Podcast, the newly formed and combined love child of the movie nerd and Oswegonians Laker Review Podcast.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
Say what again? Say what again?
Why so serious?
Watch what happens. Well, what happened is this bull would go right through your fucking head. Watch what happens.
I am the one who knocks.
So, yeah, let's have a super chill, calm, fucking fun.
Awesome.
Yeah,
as long as we, keep it civil, and if we get passionate,
Well, so the thing
make
is-
the passion focus. So
Well, no, yeah. So the thing is I want you to know, I might spit a violent, venomous game.
no pun intended.
Oh, all puns intended.
Awesome.
All puns in this
Awesome.
episode will be intended.
Awesome. Perfect.
But in all seriousness, if I disagree with something, it's not out of anger or out of spite or out of like my opinion of you or anything. It's because this is how I view something, and I say this during any podcast that I do, which is, this is my opinion. This is how I feel about something. If you want to have your own valid opinion, you can have it. Just make sure you, 1, watch the movie. 2, you look at it from multiple different lenses. Because if I'm looking at Venom from an artist's lens, yeah, it's not a good film. But if I also looked, then 50% of the MCU is not good films from an artist's lens. And that includes Iron Man. Iron Man was poorly put together, to be perfectly honest with you. The story gets very convoluted, and that's some people's favorite movie in the MCU. However, from someone who's a fan and has read almost all the Venom comics and all the Spider-Man comics, I think Venom was a great movie. It did the character just what needed to be done.
Oh my god, this is already gonna be my favorite episode ever, because you literally just said everything that I want to hear, which is awesome, because that's, oh my god, the amount of times that I've gotten into pointless arguments with people over a thing where it's like, I'm trying to say hey, this is just your opinion. It's perfectly okay if you want to have this opinion. I may disagree with you, and I may tell you that you're wrong, but that doesn't make you wrong.
Yeah.
It just means you seem wrong to me because of my own biased perspective.
Yeah, when I joke about your writer at the Gonian having a bad opinion of the film, I joke about it because the way I read his article.
Exactly.
Because you didn't write that. That was, what's his name?
Garrick. The guy who I actually had the last podcast with.
Yes, Garrick. The way I read his writing, he looked at it from an artist's lens, and you can't do that with a superhero.
You're right, but the thing that I will give him credit for is that he does that with every movie.
That's
and again,
fair.
what I will say is that at least gives him a unique perspective to have. Because, because
totally.
it's the fact that he does that lens with every movie that he sees, that it's like, okay, so this is an interesting thing, where rather than be like me, who tries to see everything from a fair lens and really only focus on my own personal thoughts and how it affects me, because I know that if I try to look at it, at least in terms of when I review a movie.
So I'm assuming the podcast is started.
I was about to. Honestly, literally, the way that it started is like, honestly, we're back, by the way. This is the Laker Movie Nerd Review Podcast, whatever fucking title I came up with. I
love
don't
it.
remember.
I don't
remember. But like, honestly, no, just have it be like this. Just chill. Conversation
honestly,
based,
seriously. Real fast, I gotta shoot off a text though. I'm participating in the Panic Film Festival.
Oh, really? Who are you teamed up with to do?
David Fuenzilda. I can't pronounce his last name, and he's gonna shoot me for it. Ben Greco.
Yeah. I didn't even know Ben was doing Panic Film Festival. That's awesome.
Yeah. Jared Lindaker wrote the script
Nice.
with David. Me and my friend, I don't know if you know Mackenzie Van Horn. She's not a film person, but she's a theater person.
That name sounds very
She's sophomore.
familiar.
She's a theater person. She gave a great performance.
That name sounds very familiar. Well, I'll definitely have to see it once it's done.
Yeah, totally.
Because I participated in Panic last semester.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and
2 semesters ago. Though.
2 semesters. Yeah, you're right. 2 semesters ago. That's
Which
what it
movie was yours? Because I also participated.
Let me think here. I actually have to remember now, because I get my Panic and my Fresh Fest movies confused all the time. I remember now. I did the one that Brandon Macy directed, and which was the one about the couple guys, and there's sort of like a purge thing happening, and it's with all the people in the masks, and then ends with my character. I acted in it. It's with my character like revealing that he's like one of the masks or whatever. And the movie definitely had an idea of what it was going for, but it kind of lost focus halfway through in order to get to its twist.
That's better than the film I was in last year. I was in post film.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah, I have. Well, hold on. Let me put it this way. I have 3 classes with Matt. Again, not to shoot shade at anyone, but I have 3 classes with Matt, though, and he's already just for being
Feel
himself.
free to cut out whatever you want.
Just by being himself, he has already garnered the. I'm not gonna say the venom again with the puns. Oh my god, with the interconnectivity of this episode.
Oh yeah.
But the venom, but for the concern, we'll say, of one teacher, because 2 of the classes I am with him in.
Mm-hmm.
One of them I TA him for, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so yeah, that's all sorts of fun. So
Okay.
I'd be interested to see whether, for lack of a better, his personality matches his filmmaking skills. For lack of a better word, again, I'm being as coy as I possibly can. You just answered my question.
I'm sorry.
completely.
Okay, so we can have this.
Okay, sure.
Okay. He is what I call a toilet bowl philosopher.
All right,
a toilet bowl Socrates.
and please, I would love to hear your definition of that word. A toilet bowl of Sophocles.
Socrates. A toilet bowl Socrates is someone who writes on the walls of bathroom stalls philosopher sayings.
Oh.
Someone who is like trying to give like life advice and seems smarter than thou. Like, I'm all for graffiti in bathrooms.
Right.
I think if there's one place that you can graffiti, it's bathrooms and like train stations.
Okay.
Because it's art.
Right.
But or on train stations it's art. In bathrooms, if you're gonna write something on a wall, you write something funny. You know, you make something clever. You know, don't quote Karl Marx on a bathroom wall.
Exactly. If you're going out of your way to commit an act of art, for lack of a better word, at least have the audacity to make it your own. You know, don't just try and rip somebody else's off.
Right.
That's what making movies are for. Is save the ripping off other people's ideas for making movies.
And so the thing that I feel like Matt does a lot of the time is he tries to come up with these things like really nice one-liners that makes him sound super smart and like he's a philosopher.
Got it.
And he's not, because once you get past those one-liners, he falls flat on his face.
Got it. So it is an ego thing, because that's been the thing that I've been trying to crack about him in all my classes.
It's all
the
ego.
exact same thing where it's again he gives off this aura that he's interested, but then he asks the same question not only after it's already been answered by somebody else, but again, like completely missing the point even as somebody is explaining it. He just asks more questions. It's like he's giving off the aura of listening without actually listening at all.
Here's the thing. So I'll tell you the story about my Panic Film Fest experience with him.
Okay.
But I'll tell you another description that I would use for him. He's like the kind of guy, like, if he were a woman, if he were a girl in college, he is the girl who posts pictures on Instagram of like butt out, breasts out, you know, like duck face.
Attention seeker. Is basically what describes him.
Yes. But then would caption with something like, you know, like, I'm just trying to live my best life, or one of my ex-girlfriends is the perfect example of this. Her profile picture is of her topless, facing away from the camera on top of a mountain. That kind of a picture with a group of her friends, like freedom and all that. And then the quote in her bio is, I want to live my life like my soul is trying to dance out of my body.
Yeah. So,
and it's like, okay, shut up. We'll just start with shut your mouth. Yes, feel free to to be a philosopher, to philosophize, if that's the word.
Yeah, I don't remember. Is it philosophize, whatever. Something.
But feel
words,
free.
Lots of letters.
Feel free to have that personality, but don't match it with your fun-loving, wild personality, because it doesn't fit. And that's sort of what Matt so for example, his film style when we did Panic last year, and I'm sure he's gotten better. I'm sure, you know, he's improved on his craft a little bit. He asks me for help and conceives this idea, and he explains to me the idea like a week earlier. Didn't tell me that I owed him $5 for registration, but that's whatever.
Okay. You didn't know, nobody explained to you outside of him the $5 registration
No
fee?
one. No one at all.
All right, that makes sense.
Like, this
if,
year-
if you've never been to a film club meeting, that makes sense.
Yeah. I'd never been to a film club meeting. I just knew that I wanted to help out, and I was like, yeah, sure, I can dedicate some time. Like, I can dedicate like an hour or two.
Right.
He doesn't explain to me the $5 thing. I had no idea until the day he's like, okay, I registered you. Just everyone owes me $5 now, and I'm just like,
What? Hold on.
I was like, okay, sure. And so we go to film. Like, it's that Friday night, Saturday night. We go to film in Seneca, and I show up. It was a Saturday night because me and my friends were going to see it because it was still in theaters.
It was still okay.
And it was my friend Mike hadn't seen it, and my friend Jess that I was with had, and we wanted to go and take Mike because we were sure he'd love the film, and he did, and all that. And so go to Seneca, and I'm just like, yeah, this will be like a 1-2 hour thing, right, man? And he's like, yeah, not a problem. And then he's like, I was like, I'll bring my equipment and record for you. I'll help you, like, you know, I'll do that. Like, you don't need to worry about checking out with the cage and trying to compete with anybody else to get equipment. I got you. I brought my camera. I brought my follow focus shoulder rig. I brought my, I brought my Tascam. I brought my boom mic. I brought everything. And, like, I tried to make it as professional looking as I could. I input my ideas, on shot design and stuff like that. And I did all of this because he did not have a script. He did not have a shot list for me. He never came up with anything more than just that flat idea of, like, this is kind of what I'm going for. And I was just like, okay, but I don't know what to do about that. Like, you haven't gotten me anything. This isn't how this works. And then he's like, and then I'm like, okay, man, we got the shoot done after 3 hours. We had to go to the later showing of it. We had to go to like a 10 o'clock showing. Finished all that crap. And after, it was the longest shoot I've ever had to do because he had no idea what he was doing. He was just like, I caught him almost causing 3 different continuity errors. And I'm just like, that's not my job. That's like your job.
And the fact that I have to do that for you, the fact that I have to babysit you essentially on your own film shoot is kind of embarrassing.
Well, I almost literally said to him, because of this shoot alone, I should not owe you these $5.
Yeah.
But then, after the shoot and after the movie, I checked my phone and I've got a text from him and he's like, hey man, do you mind also editing the footage for me? And I'm just like, yeah. Fine.
Who else was helping besides you?
It was me, him, and Cassie Slow.
Oh, yep.
Who's, by the way, love Cassie Slow.
The greatest person ever. I'm actually she's actually in my film group right now. She's fantastic.
Oh, so she's with you guys this year?
Yes.
Okay.
For our film group in class, though. Not for Panic.
Oh, I thought she was in your Panic.
Like I said, because I didn't do Panic. With my schedule this year, I have not had time to do any
I totally get that.
this year, like, at all.
I totally shouldn't have done Panic based on my schedule this year.
Yeah.
I'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
You'll probably cut out most of this conversation.
It's fine.
But like, I just wanted to talk to you about it because you're a film guy and you're in that circle.
Of course.
And so I edit it. I stay up all night editing this thing because I didn't. If I had known I was editing it for him, I wouldn't have gone to see a movie. I would have just sat there and edited for the 2 hours of it that it would have taken. But then, have you ever had one of those nights? Are you an editor?
Yes.
You do editing?
Yes.
Okay.
Not as much as I like to now, just because of my schedule, and then just because of my schedule this semester, it has literally clamped me from being able to do really any of the stuff that I like in terms of filmmaking towards my YouTube channel and everything, and it's really...
Well, so...
Yeah.
I am an editor.
Right.
That is what I brand myself as. I am a film editor. I've been one for the last 6-7 years, just about. That is who I am and what I do. And so I was okay to help him because I was like, it's a project I can put my name on. And I did the best that I could with what we shot. We didn't do a lot of pickup.
And again, it's a combination factor of not only are you working with material that's not yours, not only are you already putting in way more effort than you should need to on a project that's not even yours, but you're also trying to make the best out of most likely very shoddy material at best, which is
because he
never fun.
Well, so he never had us pick up any B-roll shots. He never had us pick up any, like, just pickups in general. We never ADR'd anything. We never did any of the shit that you're supposed to do to, you know, make sure, like, you have a solid film. And so, and he also used 2 actors that were not registered.
Registered as in even in the school? Or
no,
as
in the production, in the film festival.
Well, I feel like at this point that's just par for the course.
Yeah, so, you know, that's the thing. So I'm not, like, super concerned about that aspect of it, but I found out this year that everyone has to be registered.
No, everybody has to be registered. That's involved in some capacity.
Yeah. And so 2 of the people that were in it were not at all. My friend Jess and Mike, who were, he was just like, oh, we need some people. Can you guys do this real quick? And I was just... And I
Matt literally, sorry to interrupt, but literally,
no,
Matt sounds like literally pretty much every single person that I worked with on a film set at my old school. But
yeah.
So I'm really happy I avoided working with him.
Yeah, so that's the huge issue that I have too, is because I'm the same way. He's everybody that I've ever had to work with at, like, not OCC, but, like, because a lot of the people I worked at OCC knew what they were doing, had a plan, wrote it out. Like, that's where I learned to make a yeah, that's where I learned to make a shot list. But back in high school, it was the Wild West.
Right.
You would pick up a camera and you would go, and I'm guilty of it too. You know, I'm guilty of that, like, hey, I've got the camera today, let's make a movie or something.
Pretty much.
You know, no idea, let's just go out and do some shit. And, like, you know, so I'm guilty of it too. I won't be on my high horse for too long. But nowadays I feel that I've gotten a lot better with, no, we need a plan, we need, you know, we're actually planning to work on something in the spring, me and my group of friends. I've got the script. I wrote the script myself. All 58 pages of it. Really proud of it. I think I laugh at least twice on each page at my dumb humor.
Just the fact that you were able to squeeze 58 pages out of a script is kind of amazing, because...
Well, so, I get that, and I'm very proud. Like, I agree at the point in my life that I'm at, but for some reason, I never feel like that's enough. 58 pages doesn't even feel like I won't be happy until I've passed 100. And I feel like I could go another 50 pages on this script, but I feel also that I've told the story concisely and how I want it to be told.
So you've worked on this for
3 years.
3 years. You've been working on this for 3 years.
Yeah, I started this. It was actually started as a coping mechanism. We're gonna get real now. It was started a month after my dad passed away as a coping mechanism. Just like I needed something to make me laugh, and my sense of humor does that for me perfectly. And you know, so I started writing the script, realized that what I was writing was really damn good for my standards, at least, which I hope are high standards. Finished it in 3 months, I think. Just about finished the first, like, draft of it in 3 months. But that was also with, like, a month and a half of just not writing it at all and just stepping away so I can look at it from an outside perspective.
Right.
I always make sure to do that when I write a script.
That's good. You have to do that.
Because I fanboy over what I write so much that I just, at a certain point, I'm like, okay, step away. Would I like this if I weren't me?
Right.
And then I debate myself for a whole month. And then if I do, I get back into it. If I don't, I'm like, okay, either rework the project or dump it all.
Right, and it's so funny too that you mentioned that, because that's really the mentality you have to have when it comes to writing, because my whole thing with writing, and again, the problem is that I try to take my mentality that I look at on everything, and I try to attribute that to everything that I do in terms of the media world, and it's not, because you need different approaches to everything, because I've had, for lack of a better word, the YouTube mentality for so long. I try and attribute that to what I'm doing with feature filmmaking, whatever aspect I'm in. Usually for me, it's a big thing is writing, because, you know, my whole thing is, so you consider yourself an editor, I consider myself a critic. Like, I'm not, I don't think I am.
I hate you, by the way. I hate critics.
Pretty much, I don't blame you. But my whole thing, I don't blame you. Critics suck. But we ruin movies for people. But that's beside the point.
You are paid to literally shit on
literally
thing.
paid. Again, it's like there's a reason why people hate critics because we are literally paid to expose flaws within movies.
So the thing is,
and that we hide behind because we all secretly hate movies, and we like to hide behind the excuse of we're saying it to try and make films try harder and get better. Except film itself as a genre has been around for so much longer than film critics have been a thing, and critics is really just the thing to prop up news outlets and gain more publicity. And it's just an extension of publicity for movies that for the amount of publicity the movies get. But that's beside the point.
Let me give you my clarification on that. I hate critics who don't do what I do or what apparently you seem to do that we talked about earlier, which is say, this is my opinion.
Pretty much, which unfortunately enough is 85% of Twitter right now, and it kills me.
Okay, I will go on record as saying I hate Stanley Kaufman's guts.
I don't know who that is, but
Stanley Kaufman is a critic. He's an acclaimed critic from I don't remember what newspaper or what outlet. He died years ago. He's the guy who gave I think one of the only rotten scores for The Godfather. He gave he would slam popular movies at whatever capacity he could.
I'm waiting for the other foot to drop here.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I hate him because if you're going to shit on something just for because it's popular and other people are saying it's good, and then looking at this, I'm losing words because I'm filled with such boiling hate for this man.
It happens. Well, it's 90% of my whole thing. People ask me why I talk so fast all the time. It's because I'm trying to say everything that's on my mind before I forget it.
Yeah.
And it's literally, I wish it was otherwise.
No, it's not even that I've forgotten it. It's that I'm trying to think of a way to communicate to you how irritated I get based off of the fact that someone has the audacity to go at a movie critically acclaimed movie like The Godfather.
I would say that critically acclaimed is probably the lowest form of praise that you can give a movie like The Godfather, but that's just from my own incredibly biased point of view. But
also, do you like The Godfather?
It's my favorite movie of all time.
Okay, yes.
No questions asked.
It's
easily.
It's the greatest Thanksgiving movie of all time.
It's the greatest movie for me that I can watch literally at any point of your Halloween, Thanksgiving, freaking April Fools. I'll put it on. That movie literally I can watch at any point of the year.
So that for me is Birdman,
right?
Personally, and I don't think he ever got the chance.
I'm so happy that you say that because the biggest thing for me for 2014 is the amount of people that came out and said, "Oh, Birdman, that terrible movie." I'm like,
okay, first off, I'll roll up my sleeves to whoop your fucking ass.
Please, it's hold my beer here
because Birdman did this thing, and if you even took away the one-shot gimmick,
right, which is of course the thing that everybody talks about because everything it's immediately observation what they see and and that automatically translates to what they like and there's no actually getting beneath the layers and talking about the substance that makes said films work.
If you take away that gimmick, you are left with a movie that is so well-rounded in the spectrum of comedy, self-referentialness. The fact that you've got Ed Norton playing a fucking asshole, like an artistic asshole who's maybe I could do this on the script instead of. I don't think my character would say that. That is who Ed Norton is.
That is who Ed Norton is.
Based on accounts of actual filmmakers.
The film is a take on Michael Keaton's whole career while also simultaneously doubling as a piece about fucking as celebrity speculation and introspection into the way that they think, all wrapped into that arguably perfectly technically made movie. And literally I have to explain to my family all the time that Birdman is a comedy because they watch that movie and they don't understand how that movie's a comedy. I'm like, this is not only one of the funniest movies that I've seen in a while, this is one of the most brilliant. So, people always tell me, one of the biggest things that I hate hearing in movies is how comedies can't be smart. Because how can something that makes people laugh, usually the time because it's stupid, in quotes, make people laugh? And that kills me because some of the smartest, most introspective, brilliant movies I've ever seen have been comedies. And not just dramedies, for lack of a better word, becoming a big thing because genre is a thing that is slowly starting to go away in film, but broadband studio comedies. I have seen some incredibly smart intellectual things come out of movies like The 40-Year-Old Virgin and Step Brothers and freaking Tropic Thunder. Tropic Thunder is one of my favorite movies of all time. And I have to explain to people constantly how smart that movie is.
Well, so I had an old acting teacher who actually will mimic exactly what you said, which is that comedy is for the thinking man, drama is for the feeling man. It is so easy to make someone cry and to make someone feel sad. If you show someone a movie like Marley and Me, they're gonna cry.
Right.
And that's because it's about a dog that dies. And, like,
oh my
so
god,
easy.
I'm automatically going to hell because I'm the first person that laughs and hearing it's a dog that died. I'm automatically going to hell now.
Like Boy in the Striped Pajama is
Right.
just about a kid that Stop laughing. But so it's so easy. It's so easy to make someone feel an emotion. But it is so hard to get someone to laugh at a joke. That is why there are very few hecklers or very few people who are like at a presidential rally. I won't use Trump because Trump is an exception.
Easy.
Well, no, because he's an exception
Okay.
of this. He likes rallies where he gets to deal with hecklers because I see him more as an entertainer.
He is.
But-
Because I still see him as that.
Yeah. And so at a presidential rally, your job is to make people feel something, invigorated. Go vote. Go do this. You know, it's so easy. You just have to use these buzzwords that get people charged up. Whereas with comedians, it is so easy to bomb as a comedian. It is so easy to lose the trust of a crowd in a split second. At a presidential rally, you never would see someone lose a crowd entirely in 1 second. But at a comedy show, you just have to be Louis C.K. right now to just, like, not have people laugh at you.
It's true.
You know, and so it's so easy to just lose that crowd. And so comedy is such a careful dance and a careful game that you have to play. That, like, if your crowd isn't as intelligent or on the same level as you, they're not going to get your jokes. You're not going to do your job. Anyone with a basic monkey brain can go, that's sad, I sad now. Like, so that's my whole opinion on that. But anyway, back to Matt Golfo.
Oh my god, this is already my best episode yet. This is honestly, I just want to scrap everything that we have on the docket so far and just have this be one-on-one with Charlie Shipley.
Oh my
because
god,
Jesus Christ, this is my absolute favorite episode yet so
dude,
far.
when I come to do podcasts, I show up.
Literally, the stuff that we have just talked about right now is stuff that I've been trying to do with podcasts for years now because I get it. The stuff that we talk about with movies, it's like, yeah, it's fun to talk about depending on the personality of the person that you're talking with, but the problem is that ultimately at the end of the day, it's still going to be the same stuff that 90% of other people on Twitter are talking about. And I'm not sure whether this is just because of the sphere that we've ingrained ourselves in, as I would like to say that, you know, we are both movie lovers, for lack of a better word. Whether it's the sphere that we've ingrained. It's cinephiles. Exactly. I don't know why I'm very, like, opposed to that. I feel like we need a new term. We need a new term.
Because it's too close to pedophile.
It is. I'm sorry, but I feel like that would be the same thing if you put that word in front of any word, anything ending with file, though. But yeah, because
I'm a phonophile.
Exactly. Well,
it sounds weird.
Okay, that's who Gen Archer. We're millennials or post millennials or whatever.
Everyone's a phonophile.
We're phonophiles just based
Telephile,
on the year we were born.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
I've been like. The stuff that I try to talk about is stuff that not a lot of people are talking about. The behind the scene, the asking why that's happening. While everybody is talking about what's going on with DC, with Star Wars, I would rather focus on the why it's happening. And I find that those are the conversations that not only need to be happening, but are not happening.
Well, yeah, so, you know, you keep getting these people in Hollywood who are saying, what can we do to fix the industry? Because it's kind of broken right now in the sense that, like, everyone keeps making the same thing. Nothing's original. You're hearing all of these complaints from your audiences that, like, you're not doing a good job. What can we do to change it? Or what can we do to improve? But you're not looking at why we need to improve.
Exactly.
They're just seeing what can we do from the point we're at to improve. Whereas you need to go, wait, why do we need to improve in the first place? Then you can look back and in retrospect see, oh, maybe we shouldn't have made that Karate Kid movie 11 years ago or 9 years ago and start this whole boom of the remake. You know, because in my opinion...
So you would say that's what kicked off the boom with the
absolutely. Remake. I said this on an episode of my podcast, Burnt Popcorn. You should listen to it.
No such thing as shameless self-plugging in here.
Oh, not at all. I tell everybody when I hire them for this podcast department, I tell them, hey, feel free to pimp out other people's podcasts so that we can have just like this good community. And for the most part, people are doing it. But, you know, so on my own podcast, we were talking about this week is Halloween, our Halloween movie comparison.
Right.
So for people who don't, you know, listen to my show, which is like everybody.
Oh, there you go.
So for the people who don't listen to my show, what I do is I take a good movie and a bad B movie of similar story, structure, or some similar element, and I compare the two and contrast with my co-host Emily. And we decide which one we thought was actually the better movie from personal effect. And it's not always just like, sometimes it's a 50-50 split. Sometimes we're both just like, that was definitely the better movie. Sometimes we're just like, you know, neither of these were that good. We watched The Road Warrior and Waterworld in 1 week.
Oh my god,
and
that's
Emily,
amazing that you would pick those two to compare, because it's like, talk about two movies that have so similar styles, yet one is regarded as a masterpiece and another one is regarded as one of the worst movies ever made.
And you know what the thing is we sat down, and I love The Road Warrior personally.
Right.
I love it. Emily had never seen it, and she was just like, it's not my kind of movie, it's kind of boring, actually. Yeah. And I'm just like, yeah, but so the reason why we picked Road Warrior and not Mad Max Fury Road, which is literally the Road Warrior but better.
Road Warrior, but with obviously much higher production.
Right. And so that's the exact reason why we didn't pick the Road Warrior, was because you can't compare Waterworld.
You didn't pick Fury Road.
Or Fury Road, sorry, yes. We didn't pick Fury Road because you can't take Waterworld, which has all these practical effects, and like, yeah, that CGI monster, but that was like whatever.
Yeah.
It only has a little bit of special effects and CGI versus, you know, you can't put that up against one of the most beautiful cinematic masterpieces, so much so that even in black and white, the chrome and what's it called? The Chrome and something edition of Fury Road.
I don't remember the name that they came
up with.
I
own it. It's a beautiful remastering. It's the movie, but in black and white, but with like a silver sort of feel to it. Yeah. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I know they did the same thing with Logan, but I never knew the official term for it.
Yeah. I have the Logan one as well. It's so good. I don't know if you've ever watched it.
I have not seen the black and white version.
Oh, you gotta let me lend that to you.
For me, my whole thing just with the whole black and white and everything, where it's like, if I already enjoy a movie enough, like a movie like Logan or Fury Road, not for me, like seeing in black and white. Yeah, it'll provide a new edge for me and a new lens through which to watch it through. But I feel like for me personally, it's not gonna really change.
Well, so what I found was it changed sort of the tones of the film, because Logan seemed like I always said Logan seems like a family drama.
Okay,
you know,
that's interesting.
I don't see Logan as a superhero movie. I see it as a family drama.
I agree with you about it not being the superhero movie, but for a different. I find Logan kind of goes in this trend that I would say kind of Sicario set it off, because Taylor Sheridan went from that to writing Hell or High Water, and then did Wind River the same year. So I would say it kind of set off this kind of this genre of indie neo-westerns that we see, because a lot it does because a lot of the vibes and the tones that I got from Logan, and I think one of the reasons why I enjoyed it so much is because it reminded me so much.
Are you excited for the Sisters Brothers, by the way?
Mix of tones, but I'll get to that in a little bit.
Okay.
It's this tone of like these indie neo-westerns where we get now, where they're hearkening back to, obviously they're paying a lot of homage to the westerns of old, but at the same time they're also incorporating a lot of elements of today, and it's helping them feel even more poignant and fresh. Like,
I get that.
For me, Hell or High Water is a movie that works not because
that was the one with Chris Pine,
Chris Pine and Ben Foster. Yeah,
okay.
That is a movie that.
So good.
Oh my god, it's amazing. Yeah. But that is a movie for me that works even better because it's set in modern day, and not because it's a period piece that's set in a certain amount, you know? Like, the whole comparison that I think back to is it all goes back to the whole thing that everybody was comparing Logan to when that first came out with Unforgiven, where Unforgiven is regarded so well it is because it's taking what came before, but also telling its own modern take. Like, because the whole thing with time, when I'm seeing Unforgiven, it's like, oh my god, it's like literally every single moment that would have already been mapped out in a Western that you would be able to say, oh, I knew that was going to happen. Like, not only does the movie take time and show and go against the grain of that, but it also, by doing that, it kind of creates its own atmosphere and subgenre.
Right.
And it's kind of, it really is amazing where the entire time that I'm watching it, it's like, specifically the scene that I can think of is the scene where he can't get on his horse. Because the whole time, every single time, the movie goes out of its way to show you he can't get on his horse because he's old. And it's like, yeah, because the whole point is that when he would have been a much younger cowboy, but also in other Western movies, the cowboy jumps onto his horse no problem.
Right.
And so I really like...
It's the hero donning the cape.
Exactly. It's the whole... but attention to detail that way is really what helps sell that movie. And I found a lot of those vibes translated well over to Logan. Obviously, I wouldn't say... to the
just
level
like,
that Unforgiven did.
Well, no,
but...
so exactly just like the way that you can see the pain in his face when the claws come out, finally. Which they've never really done before because he's always just been... Like, you can see that the adamantium's finally poisoning him and affecting him in the way that it's supposed to, just like in the Old Man Logan comics.
Right.
You know? And so I see it as a family drama, personally, because...
One of the most R-rated, bloody family dramas I've ever seen. And that's amazing.
But because, so you've got the 3 generations. You've got Patrick Stewart, who is the grandfather, who adopted this broken, young,
hot-headed, wasn't sure, in Wolverine, who already has his own history of baggage. Because again, the thing that we always keep forgetting about, because we're always seeing Hugh Jackman usually act off Patrick Stewart, is that he is hundreds of years older than Patrick Stewart as Professor Xavier, and that actually harkens back.
He was alive back during the Revolutionary War.
Yeah, he was born, I believe, at the turn of the century, shortly, because if I remember, like I said, X-Men Origins continuity is already thrown out, but if I'm remembering this correctly, he was born during or after the American Revolution, because I remember what the first thing in that little montage in X-Men Origins of him and Sabretooth fighting is he's in the Civil War. The Civil War is the first one that he fights in. So... yeah, I believe that's when he was born. So he's been around literally almost as long as America has been around.
Yeah. And so you've got but Patrick Stewart I see as a father figure to Logan because of just how he took him under his wing and made him into the better person that he is.
Right.
And then you've got Logan with his daughter, because in a way she was born from a test tube of his DNA, and
well, and I like that approach that the movie took with that also, is that it didn't try to replicate the Clone Saga, and again it just goes more so with the realistic tone that the movie was setting, and that it really goes to strength, like they deliberately used the term daughter, not clone, which I really, really enjoyed.
Yeah. Well, in the trailer quote, she's your daughter.
Yeah.
The Patrick Stewart quote, and just like, and you see that family dynamic while they're traveling. Logan curses in front of her, and Patrick Stewart just goes, "Logan, watch your mouth in front." And it's just like, it's the same shit that I would see with my family, my grandpa and my father and stuff like that, where it's just like that back and forth of like granddaughter and grandfather get together a lot, or get along a lot better, and just like as a common enemy of the father figure. And that's why I feel like he's so antagonistic in that movie. Even though he is the hero, Logan is antagonized a bit in that movie as this violent rage machine, because he now has to deal with the person who's been in his ear all his life for a majority of his life, especially in his rebirth of becoming a better person. And then he has to deal with this, and him being in his ear and just being like, you can still be so much more than you are. You're a better fucking person than this. Learn your shit. I was so ready for Patrick Stewart to let loose and fucking hit Hugh Jackman at one point during the movie.
Right.
Before eventually getting stabbed in the stomach.
He does. He certainly does in his own way. But
yeah, of course. And and then but Hugh Jackman has this little girl in his ear who, by the way, I can't remember who the actress
Daphne Keane is her name.
She was so damn... Welcome to the Logan cast.
Yeah, right. No, right.
No, not talking about anything else.
And it's so funny because Logan's your favorite movie of last year, right?
No.
Really? Because it's mine. I was torn between 3, but and Logan actually lost the top spot for me at a certain point. But after a while, I kept thinking of it. It's just like because of the way that movie affected me. I'm like, that movie has affected me in a way that no other superhero movie has.
Do you want to just go like from
honestly,
2010 to like now?
Honestly,
what your favorite movies were?
Honestly, we could, but honestly, like I said, I'm just having so much fun with this conversation.
Yeah,
I literally don't even care what we talk about.
I was
just
gonna say, like,
what
what time are we even at?
We've been talking for since 6 o'clock. We've been talking for roughly 40 minutes now.
Wow.
And
we haven't even gotten into your list.
We haven't even gotten into anything.
We will, though. I do want to
There's
give you
definitely
your
a couple
show.
topics that we got to talk about, but like honestly, like this is like I said.
So
this,
like
this
2010.
Is the podcast.
What was 2010?
So if I had to do a quick rundown of just my favorites of each year since the beginning of this decade, so 2010, Social Network.
Yeah.
2011, Drive.
Oh wait, hold on. No, I got a better one for 2000.
So let's run through my list first, and then we can run through. So,
I'm gonna look up what came out in 2011.
Yeah. So 2010, Social Network. 2011, Drive. 2012, Django Unchained. 2013.
That's good.
Yeah. 2013, The Wolf of Wall Street. 2014, Birdman. 2015, Sicario.
Green Lantern.
Is that the first thing that comes up when you search 2011 or 2010?
The Help, Super 8, and Green Lantern.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. But that's a whole different argument right there. So 2015 is Sicario. 2016, Swiss Army Man, which is actually kind of funny because that's not the popular choice. Which the popular choice for that year is either Moonlight or La La Land. And I'm like, no, I'm gonna go Swiss. I'm gonna go Farting Corpse movie. Yippee! Also, Also, fun fact, unbiased point, but I actually did get to meet Paul Dano at Tribeca Film Festival earlier this year, which was awesome, but I'll get into that in a little bit.
Is he super nice?
He is one of the most chill human beings I think I've ever met.
That's fucking great.
He is so laid back and calm and cool and collective. Like literally, he spoke slowly too, like to a point where it's like you think you're talking to an autistic person, but he wasn't. Like I could tell that,
right.
And I was really proud of myself too because for the most part I kept myself in check, and I just talked to him as I was like I'm having a conversation as like just two human beings, not a fan of a celebrity. But I did have my one nerd out moment. I had my one nerd out moment where at the end, I said to him, I'm like, by the way, I love Swiss Army Man, and it's my favorite movie of 2 years ago because I met him earlier this year. And he was like, and the only thing that he said to him, he's like, oh yeah, that was great. I had a lot of fun making that movie with those guys. I'm like, oh,
that's great.
I love that. That's the one that I love
when an artist loves those shit that they worked on.
Yes, absolutely.
Because I've definitely seen interviews with people where they're just like, oh yeah, I remember doing that.
Yeah, pretty much. And the problem is that that's becoming more and more and more, especially
like I don't know. Have you ever seen the Michael Caine Jaws 4 interview?
No, I haven't, but actually I might have.
He's literally, it's the one where the person just asks like, this is after he'd been successful for years, but a person asked him, they were like, what made you want to do Jaws 4?
And he was like, money.
He was like, and he literally goes, did you see the house that it got me?
Did you see the house?
That's like literally what he says.
And it's so funny too because of course the one story that everybody also always talks about is Michael. I don't know if you've heard the story, but the whole thing is that so Michael Caine missed accepting his Oscar at the Oscars earlier that year for Hannah and Her Sisters because that year he won supporting for Hannah and Her Sisters. So because he was filming Jaws 4. Oh my god! I don't know if you've ever heard that.
That's so great.
Yeah, but yes.
Ooh, I just looked up 2010 now too.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
What a fucking stacked year.
Oh yeah, 2010 was a stacked year. But have you ever heard of a thing called Letterboxd?
No.
It's a website that I'm gonna pull up mine right now. It is a website literally designed for people like us cinephiles, where it's a website that is exclusively designed to keep track of your movies, and it's not like IMDb Pro where it makes you pay for it. It's completely 100% free.
Oh, dude, I gotta check it out.
You can keep track of all the movies that you've watched. You can
So wait, hold on, real fast. What's your pick so far for this year?
For me, so far for this year, it's a little bit of an interesting choice because the problem is, my favorite of the year is a movie that has not actually come out yet. It comes out this coming weekend. It is Jonah Hill's directorial debut.
I am so excited for mid-90s.
So I have a story about this movie. So
yeah, go for
about
it.
A couple months ago over the summer, it was in July. One of my friends from my hometown, who I've been friends with for years, I've known this kid since 3rd grade. He was in this film group that on Facebook that I am in also now. I've been there for a better part of about a year now, but he's been in this group for years. And one of the administrators for the group is very a critic has gotten invited to a bunch of screenings and stuff. There's a whole variety of different people that are in there, from people who work in the industry as PAs and stuff, right, all the way down to people, just other cinephiles who just love stuff about movies.
Right.
So, he ended up getting us passes. Long story short, he ended up getting us passes to mid-90s, because mid-90s had been doing advanced screenings for a while now.
Yeah.
And this one was really close to us because it was showing in Paramus, New Jersey. He texted me. He's like, yo, do you want to see mid-90s? I'm like, first off, what? Second off, how the fuck did you swing this? Third off, why are you even asking me if I want to see it? The question is, the question should be, how are we getting there? And he basically told me the long and short of it. So he ended up getting us passes there. It was playing right in Paramus, New Jersey, the advanced screening. And we were so worried too, because he was like, the whole thing is like, yo, we got to get there early. So I'm like, bro, don't worry. We're going to leave by 4:30. We're going to get there by 5:30. We are getting there on time. And we're so worried, because even as we were online, because there were a couple brief pauses where they took breaks in order to let people in, because the problem is they have a certain amount of the theater taped off for the press, and people who got advanced screening passes, they got to wait their turn or whatever. So we were worried that we weren't going to get in, but we ended up getting in, and we saw it. And the only disappointing thing that I walked away from that night was that Jonah wasn't actually at the screening itself. But
the movie was,
yeah, and so the embargo the movie's going wide this weekend, so I'm pretty sure the embargo is lifted in terms of like whether I can critique this movie or not. But this movie is one of the most unapologetically raw, most genuine feeling movies I think I have ever seen. Like, Jonah, this is Jonah's complete directorial debut, and he directs this movie like an absolute master. Like, my friend, his name's Dustin, by the way. My friend and I, we've been going back and forth, basically calling this the year of directorial debuts, because it is literally almost
8th grade.
So many. Well, 8th grade, but I can think of Thoroughbreds, Hereditary. Tag was a directorial debut.
Okay, so this'll help with my list currently for this year.
Okay.
Hereditary. Easily my number one.
That's so funny that you mentioned that,
Easily
because you want to talk about divisiveness and speculation for movies. Oh my god, I wish that, but I wanted that movie to do so much more for me.
Well, so here's the problem.
And technically, it's probably one of the best, top 3 most well-made movies of the year.
Here's the problem. Here is the biggest problem with this movie.
Yes.
Is everyone was so excited for this horror movie.
And it's not
a horror movie. It is not that at all.
Oh my god!
Don't break the chair. You're leaning back.
I'm sorry. No, I know. I've had this. Literally, if I had a nickel for every time I've leaned back too far in chairs. There was one point where my brother literally pulled a chair out from under me as I was sitting down, and it happened twice in the same day.
But no. So Hereditary.
Yes.
Is not a horror film.
Not at all.
It is at most a psychological thriller.
It is a psychological thriller, exactly. And I have my whole...
But it's a drama. It's a drama that is headlined by one of the best actresses that I've... Okay. A lot of people also sleep on United States of Terror, which I fucking disagree with.
Right, because I've never had a chance to watch that show, but I've heard nothing but amazing things about it.
It's so solid. And
it only goes for 3 seasons, too. So, what's so nice, even run.
Toni Collette is such an amazing dramatic actress, and everyone forgets that she has such a range, such a solid range of emotions that she can... There is only one moment in that movie that breaks me away from that drama, and it's just a personal thing. It's not even Toni Collette fucked up. My mind is stupid and just makes me laugh at this. It's the scene when she slams down on the dinner table and she finally goes, "Hey, you don't talk to me like that. Yeah. I am your mother."
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever watched... Do you watch Saturday Night Live?
I don't watch Saturday Night Live.
How long have you been watching it?
Not long, because the problem is that I've really only gotten into it in the last year or so, but I've watched tons of clips from over the years.
Years ago, there was an episode that Zac Efron hosted because 17 Again was coming up.
Okay.
And it was like High School Musical 3, or it was in that area where he was just done being in High School Musical.
Right. So around 2008, 2009.
Yeah, just about. And so...
I mean, was it 2000?
It was, because there was a bit with him, Andy Samberg, and Fred Armisen where they're shooting a commercial for these pizza rolls, and I'm laughing because it's so stupid. It was like one of those 1 a.m. sketches where it's like, it's the last sketch of the show, let's do something weird.
Yeah.
And so they're doing this thing, and Andy Samberg and Zac Efron are playing it like it's a commercial, They're funny, they're joking, like, haha, yeah. And Andy Samberg is like, oh, your mom's cooking is so great. And Zac Efron's like, she didn't even cook these. And Fred Armisen just turns around and goes, hey, I am your mother! And, like, loses his fucking mind to the point where, like, on, like, the 5th or 6th take that they do in the sketch, Fred Armisen, like, smacks Zac Efron in the
that's
face.
amazing.
It's the funniest fucking... So every time I see Hereditary now, I can't help
You
but
can't think of that. And that's so funny, too, because Double Toasted literally made a comparison so similar to that, where, do you follow Double Toasted?
No.
Oh, they're so funny. They're a podcast network based out of Austin, Texas, and their whole stigma...
Do they need a director?
That's so funny that you mentioned that, because I believe they actually are going through a content shift right now. They're opening up a new website and everything.
That's awesome.
But, so one of their guys, one of their interns, Sammy, now has his own show on there. It's called Sammy Ain't Seen Shit, and the whole purpose of the show is that Sammy hasn't watched a lot of big movies.
Yeah.
Every week he reviews a movie that usually a lot of people have seen that he reviewed.
Right.
So I remember on his episode of Training Day, he was basically bringing up a point similar to that, where he loves the movie, but the problem is that he, throughout the movie, even through the good parts, he's thinking of comparisons to
like other media that's like
specifically the Chappelle Show, the Wayne Brady episode,
yes,
which is spoofing that to a T.
Yes.
So he's thinking of that the entire time, and I'm like, oh my god, yes. Where he specifically the scene where Denzel pulls the gun on Ethan Hawke in the car, and he's just thinking of the scene and from the Chappelle Show with Wayne Brady, and I'm like, oh my god, yes. So I know exactly what you're talking about. But in terms of Hereditary, yes, I agree, and.
Visually, it's a masterpiece.
Yeah, it is. Well,
visually and technically, it's a masterpiece.
So here's my thing: is again, most likely all of my problems with the movie come from my speculation of and anticipation of what I was expecting the movie to be,
the horror,
versus what I got. Where I'm expecting this scary movie from A24 that's gonna, that's also gonna double as a psychological drama. And what I got turned out to be not that at all.
No, if you want fucking scary, go and watch whatever. Okay, I'm gonna use this term, but it does not stand for all the movies. But go watch whatever piece of shit that Blumhouse is producing right
Pretty
now.
much. And that's so funny that you mentioned Blumhouse, too, because honestly, in terms of horror, straight-up horror, scary movies, for lack of a better word, I would say Blumhouse is knocking it out of the park right now.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Blumhouse is killing it.
What
but
happened
I
with
use
their
the
content
term
shift?
I use the term piece of shit in the exact trend
because they're the ones that basically started with Paranormal Activity, which basically retconned the awful found footage thing that Blair Witch started in the ETTs.
Before.
Was it before Blair Witch?
Well, no, so I would argue that one found footage film starts with Cannibal Holocaust.
Okay, I've never seen Cannibal Holocaust.
Oh my god, sit down and watch it. It's fucked.
Okay,
it's totally fucked.
Fucked it, as in I'll come away enjoying the film, but
fucked as in you'll come away enjoying the film, but be like, I don't
disgusted at the subject matter.
Yeah, I don't know what was real. People still question whether or not the famous shot from it is of a person who is on a spike.
Okay,
like a spike shoved through their ass right through their head.
Right.
And that's the famous shot. And the filmmakers have come out to say, no, it's a person sitting on a bicycle seat. It's a practically done effect. We did not film a dead body and show it to audiences. And people still question it.
Really?
People still question that shit.
Wow.
But no, so like, when I say piece of shit that Blumhouse is producing, it's because, yes, they are knocking it out of the park on so many accounts. Get Out was amazing.
Get Out, Split, just this year. I would say Upgrade. Upgrade was a movie that never in a million years I thought was going to be good. It's so funny that we talk about Venom, because before we talk about Venom, and we will talk about it, like, I would say Upgrade did Venom better than Venom did Venom.
Okay, I could see that. I still need to see Split. I told you that in a text before we started this, because you wanted to talk about the Breakaverse.
Yes.
And
that's so funny that you call it the Breakaverse.
Well, so originally
can we also talk about the fact that in terms of people who are doing cinematic universes,
M. Night Shyamalan should not be one of them.
Like I said, the only people that I would say have done it and done it successfully, I would say there's three. So there's three. Well, Quentin Tarantino and Kevin Smith, because again, they're kind of like retconners their own verse. I'm talking in terms of like genre and movies though, and connecting other things, not from like all one director.
MCU.
But so besides the MCU, I would say there's in terms of people that have done it and done it successfully, because the DCU fucked up. The Universal fucked up with the Dark Universe.
Oh my god, the Dooku.
And honestly, to a certain extent, Star Wars, because Star Wars again is trying to do
they're fucking up.
to the same, but
I agree, they're fucking
up. So
we'll get to that when we talk about Kathleen Kennedy.
But in terms of the ones that are successful, there's only three to me that have done it. Again, and the reason why they succeeded is because they did it not to the way that Marvel did it. Conjuring.
Yep. So I said piece of shit Blumhouse. I like the Conjuring films, don't get me wrong, but I also recognize that I like them when I turn my brain off.
Got it. Okay, I haven't seen any of the Conjuring. I haven't seen any of the spin-offs. Nothing. I just know that like all the connectivity that happens between the Conjuring,
the
and
first
the
and second Conjuring are great movies. I'm sure they have some. Vera Farmiga nails it both fucking times. Knocks it out of the park both fucking times. Love Vera Farmiga. I cannot say that more. But god damn it. If okay, I am sick of fucking jump scares.
I agree.
It is the equivalent. My friend told me this, and I think he's quoting a comedian, so I can't really give credit because I don't know who originally said it. But the way it was described to me is it's the equivalent of a comedian jumping off stage and coming to tickle you.
Pretty much.
Because it's like, and then saying, but I made you laugh.
Yes.
And it's like, yes, you made me laugh, you made me jump because, and you scared me because of my body's natural reaction to the stimuli that you've just brought upon it. You did not make me think and laugh. You did not make me feel and jump and be scared. I thought Unfriended was a great movie up until the last 5 minutes.
Because and that's funny because my friend literally told me because my friend hates that whole movie, but he spoiled the entire movie for me, and I'm like, that's fine. I didn't want to see it in the first place.
Yeah.
But he literally told me that the whole twist about the ghost that was killing everybody, and I'm like, that ruined that. Take the supernatural element out of it. That undercuts the entire point of what the movie's going for.
Here's the thing. I'm perfectly fine with the supernatural aspect of it, but the way that the movie was filmed, it's filmed through a computer screen, and
right.
like it literally looks like someone just went, I have OBS, let's film a movie.
Pretty much.
And so they did it through this really interesting and really like clever way of like, you know, they avoided jump scares to a certain degree of like, because it's what I call a slow jump scare, where the computer glitches out in the scarier moments, and it sort of gives you a reprieve to be like, oh shit, that is scary. And then the ending of the movie is she closes her laptop, and Laura Barnes' ghost literally just jumps at the screen to like, as if it's like killing her, because we're seeing it through her eyes.
Right.
And that's the end of the movie, and I'm just like, had they stopped the movie to the point where she closes her laptop, that would have been more unsettling and a lot more creepy, because it literally ends with everyone turning on her and making her the bad guy and telling her to kill herself because she's the one who posted the video.
Exactly.
And I feel that ending is so much more uncomfortable and creepy and unsettling than throwing just like a pale white face on my fucking screen for a second.
Exactly. It's the whole idea, and again, it's the one of the things where I try to one of the that if we're bringing this back to Hereditary, it's probably one of the things that I don't enjoy about it is that I find things associated with real people, real human beings that real people are doing to be 1,000% scarier than any sort of supernatural twist or technical jump scare that a movie can throw at me.
So I will argue with you though that every jump scare in Hereditary, and for those listening, I'm using air quotes, I would actually argue there are no jump scares.
Yeah, that's the whole thing that I was going to bring it back to, and that's one of the things I really enjoyed, is that every single feeling that I got from the movie, again, for a majority of the movie, was 100% legitimate. I did not get one jump scare, and it's so funny too, because I hear the term scary movie, and I'm expecting jump scares, and I didn't get one, and that actually made me happier, because at first it made me a little bit angry, because I'm like, okay, am I getting gypped here? Yeah. But after a while, I'm like, okay, actually, no, this appreciates me more, because again, if you throw it back to horror movies that were, again, horror movies that were made in the 70s and in the 80s, it's that they're not horror movies because they have jump scares every 30 seconds. They're
horror movies because they are focusing on a subject and making you understand why this subject is creepy as fuck.
Exactly. It's like The Exorcist.
When John Carpenter... Hold on, real fast. For a good example.
Good.
When John Carpenter shows you the perspective of Michael Myers' eyes and what Michael Myers sees, he is putting you in the mind of a serial killer. He's not just saying Michael Myers is scary because he could be in your house.
Exactly.
He is saying he's scary because this is his only goal in life, is to kill these women, and that's all he is. Now live that life.
Yes.
You know, that's the whole point of it. And by the way, if they fucking fuck up this new Halloween movie, I'm good. I know they are. I know they
I was
are.
about to say, we're gonna get into that because I oh my god, just
We're gonna get into a lot of things.
We're gonna get into a lot of things.
Wow, we've done an hour.
Oh my, I
banter.
love it. I love it. I
So-
love it.
so-
I would do the whole 2 hours banter if I could. But
Let me give you. Oh, you think this is gonna be 2 hours, bitch? I got you for like 4.
bro.
So
the only reason why I say 2 is because I actually do have to be somewhere later on. But no,
of course.
Yeah.
So 2010. Let me get to my list.
Yeah. So do your list and then we'll wrap up the Hereditary thing and then we'll we'll bounce through as a couple.
2010. I was just looking it up. I wanted to like fill myself in on some movies from that year, and I would have to say it's either Inception, The Social Network, or Black Swan.
Black Swan's up there. Black Swan's top 5 for me for that year.
Yeah, definitely.
No Scott Pilgrim versus the World though.
Oh, absolutely. Sorry, yeah, I completely forgot that was on there. That's tough now that you reminded me of that.
That's what I do.
Oh no!
I make things more difficult for
Scott
people.
Pilgrim on to
Yeah,
Scott
right.
Pilgrim's my number one.
Yeah,
for that
Scott,
year
yeah.
because
So
I just
Scott
loved
Pilgrim.
it
Look, I
so
think my
much.
problem was I saw that movie too late because I have a feeling about. Well, no, because that's the other thing.
Well, no, I saw that movie too. I literally haven't seen it until this year.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
so
just watched it
it's
last
fresh-
semester. I'm like, this is one of the greatest things I've ever
Yeah,
seen.
it's fresh in my mind.
Because it was the whole thing where I was coming off of Baby Driver, where the only Edgar Wright movies I'd seen before then were Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz. Where Baby Driver not only let me appreciate Edgar Wright's previous movies
But
way
his
more
attention
so
to
than
detail.
before, but its attention to detail. But then I watched Scott Pilgrim after that, and it's like Scott Pilgrim is arguably a better, more fantastical version of Baby Driver, and it's amazing, and I love it.
Ooh.
Think
Well,
about it. Think about it.
No,
Like,
I
it makes
completely
sense.
agree. I completely agree that it's more fantastical. But I think that's the whole point of Baby Driver is to put it in this real world of
Right.
like,
And
these people could actually be driving around
and-
Atlanta fucking robbing
Exactly,
your bank.
and the translate and the juxtaposition of that, which is so crazy, is that Scott Pilgrim is so ludicrous that it comes off as believable almost because you totally believe somebody in that scenario because of how real those characters feel. Versus Baby Driver, its real world setting almost gives it like this fantastical feel where you feel like you're watching almost like because of the mannerisms and the way that the dialogue is written, you feel like you're watching this ode to like old style like 30s and 40s like black and white style movie. Because the way that humor works.
That honestly, that movie should be transported into like a black and like remastered into black and white.
Honestly, I would watch that movie in black and white, like very, very harsh. I mean, there are a few elements of that keep it grounded in modern day and almost date it, for lack of a better word. Specifically, I would say with the Jamie Foxx character, which again, I don't have a problem with his performance or his character, but like just certain elements of that help really ground it and date it to today's time period. Because if I had to pick one character that kind of, like I said, makes it this is a movie that takes place in modern day, it would be Jamie, rather than kind of like existing in this own little bubble.
I think that's actually the point of Jamie Foxx.
Oh, it's definitely
because if you remove him from that film, you've got John Hamm playing the most 50s gangster with the most like 50s gangsterous girlfriend. You've got Kevin Spacey playing basically just
kind of like basically like an older version.
Yeah, he's basically just playing like, I like to believe that Baby Driver is actually the sequel to the Usual Suspects.
That's awesome. Oh, that's awesome.
I like
that's
to
really
believe
great.
that just
awesome.
just a sequel and it's Kevin Spacey continuing the Virgil
That's
character.
awesome. Verbal Kent. Yeah.
Verbal Kent. Yeah.
So well, then again, because Spacey's a taboo name, so
which kills me. I completely understand where everyone's coming from, and I feel for every single victim, and it is so fucking terrible, and these men are terrible, and all of these people involved in this whole situation are terrible. But why does it have to be every single one of my favorite fucking actors, comedians, directors? Right. Why do I have to find out that they're all fucking terrible people?
Yeah, well, for me, because again, another one's coming up is Bryan Singer, again with Bohemian Rhapsody. I don't know. Yeah. Here's the one thing that I was like, I don't know what Bryan Singer has on 20th Century Fox. I don't know what because literally
they will not kick him out. They will not fire him.
So they already fired. He already walked. Remember, he already walked on Bohemian Rhapsody. But they're still giving him solo director credit because Dexter Fletcher only came in and did the reshoot, so it wasn't enough of the movie for him to get a credit on it.
He's got to have some dirt on an executive.
He's still negotiating a deal for Red Sonja. They're going to throw like $400 million his way for Red Sonja. Like, what does he have on them? Reports have been coming on him for years. I remember hearing the first report when I was a senior in high school when Days of Future Past came out, when that guy filed that report on him. Like, this is not the first time. Those reports go back so many goddamn years. Yeah. And he seems to still be relatively untouched, even though everybody knows about it. Like,
I couldn't tell you. The thing is I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
And it sucks. It sucks that why is it that to be famous and to be an eccentric artist who tells great stories or, produces
It has
great
an own unique
art
vision. You have it almost comes with the territory now that you have to be a piece of shit in some way.
Yeah,
in some way,
it
and
just
not
sucks.
even like
Why can't everybody just be Alan Alda?
Exactly right.
Why can't everybody just be Alan Alda?
Right, like not even like sending out some fucking and not just like sending out some mean, slightly pedophile joke-esque tweets. No, I'm talking actually straight up being a pedophile or jerking off in front of women or being a serial rapist or.
Ooh, I can't wait to talk to you about James Gunn and that whole situation.
God. Well, how about let's just
let me get through my list.
Yeah,
real
let's
quick,
get through your list
because you got to say yours, motherfucker.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
2011. I saw it earlier. I give it to 50-50.
Yeah, that's so funny
Love
too.
50-50.
Yeah, 50-50 is pretty fantastic. But for me, it's Drive. Drive is one of the most technically amazing.
I've never seen Drive.
You gotta watch Drive.
I know.
Oh my god, you have to watch Drive.
2012 goes to I would say either Silver Linings or Moonrise Kingdom.
Yeah, but both incredible. Perks of Being a Wallflower, anywhere up there?
Perks of Being a Wallflower is up there. I loved every performance in it. I loved the directorial style. I just thought some of the colors were a bit dark.
All right.
Made the movie a bit hard for me because of my vision.
Okay.
2013 or The Year of Mediocrity.
Yeah, right.
As I know it. Because
I will agree.
you
with
got
you.
the
I will
top three
agree with
movies.
you on
The top three movies that come up are Man of Steel, Gravity, and Star Trek Into Darkness.
Yeah, that's not a good year. I remember that year very, very well. Not a good year.
I love Wolf of Wall Street. I love Now You See Me. I think those are.
Now You See Me. Can we just talk like how underrated that movie is? Quite possibly one of the
people
most,
slept on that shit so hard,
so
and I'm
hard,
just like
so goddamn hard. I'm like, that is one of the most.
And then all of a sudden, everyone was excited for the sequel, and it's like, motherfucker, you didn't see the first.
Yeah,
one.
right. Exactly. And because the problem is that everybody that was in that movie blew up and went on to like big superhero things after that. Of course that's why everybody was talking about it.
No, exactly. Oh, okay. We're gonna cut into Venom real quick.
Yes.
What did you think of the Carnage post-credit scene?
How about we talk about that when we discuss our Venom thing, because I kind of want to save that for Venom spoiler things, because I wrote 3 points in my review kind of describing the overall
my biggest thing about spoilers for like post-credit scenes and like actors being in things is, and you'll probably disagree with this, if you can read it on an IMDb page, it's not a spoiler.
I agree with that. 1000%.
If you can read it on an IMDb page and it's not in the trivia section,
right,
it's not a spoiler.
My whole thing with spoilers is that if it gives away a direct plot point in the movie that could affect your overall feeling towards it, not your thoughts on it, not what you think about it, but the overall feeling that the movie gives you, then it's a spoiler. That's why when all these people talk about don't tell me anything that happens in it, I'm like,
but why?
Yeah, why? Like, I'm not gonna say anything that's gonna directly give away anything in the plot.
I'm not gonna say anything that's gonna change your fucking mind.
Exactly.
On how you feel
no matter if I tell you something about this movie and you go and see it and you still like the movie, what did I do? What impact did I have on that?
So real fast, we'll get 2014 Birdman or Guardians.
Right.
2015 Creed, or let's see, Creed or Straight Outta Compton was great, or Room.
Room. Funnily enough, still one of the movies of 2015 that I have not seen, and I've heard nothing but amazing things about that movie. Brie
Larson sells the shit. Jacob Tremblay sells the fucking movie. They all sell the fucking movie. The story is beautiful and sad and just it makes you feel terrible and great all at the same time. 2016 Deadpool is up there. La La Land's up there. Civil War is up there. I thought Civil War was a great thing because I went into that without having seen Age of Ultron or Ant-Man.
And I still that's awesome. Because literally every single person that I've showed Civil War to was like, I feel like there's something missing, and I'm like, damn it, every time.
Yeah. 10 Cloverfield Lane, loved it.
Yes.
Star Trek Beyond holds a special place only because I felt it was, they finally did a Star Trek movie right.
Yep.
Ironically enough, J.J. Abrams had nothing to do with it, so I guess that's his fucking problem.
Well, it's a combination of him, and it's also a combination of all those two geniuses that you find associated with everything, Kurtzman and Orsi. were
Yeah,
not
yeah.
associated with it at all. So.
Yes. Silence. Martin
Amazing.
Scorsese's Silence is
So good.
I'm not even religious.
So
I'm not
good.
even religious, and I
So
fucking
goddamn
lost my
underrated.
mind during it. Was Hacksaw Ridge was the best movie theater experience I've ever had. Not movie experience, but movie theater experience. I sat through that
Yes.
movie, and the audience was so polite. They politely clapped at the end of the film. The end of the film itself made me feel good about, just like everything. It just made me feel amazing. I went to an early screening, and when I walked out, I literally talked to one of the girls with the clipboard and was just like, it was fantastic.
If and that's so funny too that you mentioned that, because literally for me, for Silence, that audience reaction was the total opposite coming out of my
Really?
theater. People, when I saw it, hated it.
Really?
Hated it, which is so funny to me. I'm like, that is like, that movie made me feel things that I have not felt for movies
And I'm not
in
religious.
a very long time.
I'm not religious.
No, me neither. Me neither at all. But like, it's because you're not watching like a movie about religion. You're watching a movie about people.
You're watching a character
like I said,
study.
you're watching a character study about people who this religion is everything to them.
Yes,
like, literally,
exactly.
it is their entire world, and that's what gets
How
you
good
through
was
this.
Hacksaw Ridge? I walked in, and I remember the Snapchat that I sent out before the movie was about to go watch the British boy do a Southern accent for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I was convinced the entire time. He did great.
Pretty much.
Andrew Garfield did great. Vince Vaughn was like amazing in it.
Yeah.
Everyone did fantastic. No one because if you look it up, Vince Vaughn's the only person in there with an American accent.
Yes.
Everyone else is Australian.
Yes.
Because
Australian
it's Mel
/
Gibson.
British, yeah.
Yeah.
And the funniest part is Mel Gibson isn't even actually Australian or British. He just lived there for a couple of years, and I believe he was born there.
Yeah,
So
he was born there and then he lived there.
He was born there and he lived there for several years, which is why he still holds dual citizenship.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
he's not like Australian. Like, you never,
Yeah.
like, obviously you never hear him with the accent or anything.
2017 is a fucking blowout year for me because I have so many...
And this year is kind of a continuation of that.
Yeah, I'm actually very happy with the way things are going right now, in that movies like Lady Bird can be the third thing that comes up when you Google 2017
Yes,
movies.
it gives you a lot of hope.
Get Out, Lady Bird, Thor Ragnarok was amazing. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 made me cry. I, Tonya made me feel bad for a piece of shit.
Yeah, right?
The Disaster Artist actually disappointed me, I won't lie.
Really? That's
A
interesting.
little bit, yeah. Because I love The Room
Right.
so much, and I feel like had I not seen The Room, I wouldn't have gotten half of my enjoyment out of the movie.
Would you argue the term fan service for Disaster Artist?
No, because I would argue fan service if James Franco and Seth Rogen didn't legitimately love the Room.
Okay.
If they were just like, oh, let's make a Room movie for the cult people so we can make money from it, then I'd argue fan service.
Okay.
But James Franco and Seth Rogen have gone on record as saying they quote The Room more times to each other than most movies that they've ever seen.
Okay.
But the top two movies for me of 2017, and it's a tie between these two, is It and Baby Driver.
Okay.
And now it sounds like I'm sucking Edgar Wright's dick.
It does. Well, if it helps, if you're guilty of sucking Edgar Wright's dick, then so is, like, I would say 90% of our film group for the last year ever since that movie came out. So
Baby Driver changed my perspective on what a comedy heist movie can be, almost to the degree of like what Ocean's 11 did for me.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
The fucking remake, not the original Ocean's 11 with the Rat Pack.
Yeah, I still
which,
have never seen that one.
It's decent.
Well, according to Double Toasted, the entire crew and cast of that movie was drunk while they were filming it, so that is ultimately going to alter
Oh my God.
of how I perceive in that movie.
of the original.
Yeah,
Ocean's 11.
the Rat Pack one.
Yeah. Oh, they were fucking all slammed.
Yeah.
You can tell it.
Well,
Frank's slurring the whole fucking time.
It's Sinatra, Dean, Sam, like the entire crew.
It's the whole Rat Pack.
At their heyday in the 60s.
Yeah.
Basically when celebrities like controlled
Back when
film shoots.
Sinatra owned a hotel in Vegas.
Yeah, like, come on.
Like, it's...
Like, of course the entire... Like, they probably thought the entire thing was a party, and they just invited a camera crew to catalog the entire
literally.
party. It's
And they
literally...
were just
That movie is literally pretty much early, like, celebrity Instagramming and Snapchatting, like live
It's
videos.
well, because it was literally the concept of, like, we know a bunch of famous people. Why don't we just like put everyone in a movie?
Yeah, and just party, and we'll say they're doing a movie, and we'll just have use it as an excuse for a huge party.
I would also say and argue that the remake with fucking George Clooney and Brad Pitt is the exact same way.
It is,
except it's a smart, intelligent script.
Because it's Steven Soderbergh who's handling it, and then in the 2000s when we started, it was when we finally started.
I don't
to
get
see
why
it
people
go
keep shitting
back.
on
I
Magic
have
Mike.
no idea.
I don't get why people keep shitting on Magic Mike.
I have no idea because literally Unsane is still one of the best movies I've seen this entire year.
He's a genius director with a good vision. You'll hear me say so many times that the best movies have a great vision and know the exact way that they're looking and going.
Agree, 1000%. So
let's
get
get
an hour and 17, and I'm trying to get out of here by 8:30 at the latest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's do this. So Venom. So you wanted to talk about that first?
Yeah, because before we started recording, technically,
yes,
I made the statement of fuck all your writers at the Oswegonian.
Specifically, yeah, right.
Specifically Garrick.
Specifically Garrick.
Because if you're so, I used this term earlier, and I'm gonna use it again. Shut my brain off movie.
Right. Oh my god. Please talk about that too. But because I have so many thoughts that make me angry about the term "shut your brain off" when you're going into a movie. It
really
pisses me off to no end. But I want to hear your thoughts.
So
on
my
it first.
thoughts on it is I use it as a term of endearment for certain movies where, like, yeah, Bumblebee might not be that good of a movie. It looks kind of fun, and I guarantee you, if I shut my brain off and just go and watch a movie, not from this artistic, critical, why is this not the way this is? If I go into a movie with just a mentality of like, this is what I expect it to be, and I'm just going to let that happen, perfect movie. And that was how I felt during Venom. When Venom, the first teaser trailer where you don't even get to see Venom in it, and that's all that everyone would complain about for... My whole Instagram Explore page was like, how do you show a Venom trailer and not show Venom? And it's like, well, one, it's called subtlety, motherfucker. Two, but I did kind of agree with them to a certain point. So I was just, from that moment, I was just like, yeah, it's probably not going to be that good, whatever. I go into the movie with that exact lens of like, it might not be that good, but I love Venom. Venom's literally one of my favorite characters from comics ever, because it's the duality of man.
Yeah.
Written as like a fucking New York piece of shit reporter. And this
who finds this alien goo thing
and this gay slime that's just like, I need Eddie.
Yeah, pretty much.
And that is what this movie
to survive.
And that's what this movie is.
Yeah.
It's the homoerotic undertones of this movie are in fucking sane. But we'll avoid any political talk about it.
And that's so funny that you use the term homoerotic, because that's literally exactly what it comes off as too.
Yeah.
But if you take everything, take all the superhero comic booky element natures out of it, and that's what you get. But
let me just break down how I felt watching this movie, from walking into the theater to the movie starting all the way to the Eminem song at the end. Which, by the way, great track. Eminem's Venom. Loved it. I thought it was a great punctuation on an exclamation mark of a movie. Anywho, I walk in, I sit down. We got the nice seats in the theater. Yes. I'm enjoying my time. I got a Venom cup. It's great.
Yeah.
Movie comes on. One, the Oswego theater needs to fix something about its fucking projectors. Every movie is dark. I could not see the opening scene of Infinity War in their big theater. In their main theater, I could not see the opening scene. It was too dark.
Yep.
Same with Venom. Every scene was just too fucking dark. And, so I just, like, I sit down, I enjoy the movie. I love the movie. I will say it again and again and again. I turn my brain off and I watch a movie not thinking about, could the story have been better? Yeah. Could the performances have been better? Not really. I think everyone did Riz Ahmed did a great job. Fucking blanking on his name, but he did a fucking great job
as Venom?
As Eddie Brock.
Hardy.
Tom Hardy. Thank you so much. There are so many Toms now.
There's just a lot of...
Too many Toms, too many Chris's.
Too many Toms, too many Chris's. There's a lot.
But no, Tom Hardy did an amazing job. Like, everyone nailed it. Woody Harrelson did great at the end. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
If we're even throwing that out, because I think we're in spoiler territory.
We're basically
right?
in spoiler territory. The movie's been out for, what, a month now, just about? Like, it was the first weekend of October.
But I also argue that spoilers work in effect until a movie has been on Blu-ray or DVD for at least a month and a half.
Right, okay.
Because some people just don't want... Or, like, even, like, I would even say Netflix for, like, a month and a half.
Okay.
Because, like, most people don't want to pay to see a movie in theaters, so whatever, you know, you have that grace period of when people have enough time to have seen the movie.
Right.
But so it was just, the script was, there were funny moments. Tom Hardy did a great job. You know, the script could have been better. The script could have been way fucking worse. It's Sony, of course.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
The studio could have gotten entirely in the way and fucked everything up. And I think that they just sort of went... The only way that they fucked it up, the studio did, is by making it a PG-13 movie.
Yes.
Because that's not what Venom is. I wish Sony would take cue from Fox with the whole Deadpool and Logan thing and go, oh,
which is what the whole point of this movie was in the first place. The whole point of this movie was that they were taking cues from other studios who were doing that whole rated R thing, and then what do they do at the last minute? Oh, they pull an Expendables 3, where they're like, we gotta get it for the mainstream audience to get those money, which again is an argument that makes no sense. Because
I guarantee you, it is because someone at Disney saw a rough cut of the movie. And the Disney Marvel division, whoever, not Feige, but someone, saw a rough cut of the movie in the rated R version and was like, holy fuck, this is good. This is money. If you cut it down to PG-13, we'll pretend like it's not. We'll wait a little while. I'm just waiting for them to sign a contract that puts Venom in the continuation of the MCU. I sincerely think that in a couple of months... Especially when they see the DVD sales.
So this is our tinfoil hat moment here.
Yeah, this is my conspiracy theory. I'm probably wrong, and to be perfectly honest, I'm probably wrong. I wasn't wrong when people were thinking that James Gunn would come back, because my mom literally goes, "Nah, people have done worse. They won't fire him."
Like, nope.
And I'm like, "Nah, he's gone.
He's gone. He's not coming back.
Not at all."
And ironically enough,
even though they're still using his fucking script.
Yeah, right. DC profited, again, Marvel's losses, DC's gain, because DC needs all the help they can get. So they know this. So if Marvel fucks up even once, DC's like, yep, taking that.
But here's the problem with that. The last time they did it, it was them taking Joss Whedon.
And look at how that turned out.
You know, so...
And people wonder why I still have no faith in any of their projects going forward, outside of what I've seen. Outside of two, that being Shazam and Todd Phillips' new Joker movie.
Yeah,
because that could be really interesting.
The new Joker movie looks amazing.
Because that could provide a really new and interesting take on that character.
And you've got
Suicide Squad.
Phoenix.
Yes, that is true. And for some reason, Joaquin Phoenix seems to be the only actor that can do any project, and it doesn't matter as long as it has his name on it. It's good. Like, I don't think any other actor can do that. Where You Were Never Really Here is a movie that I never would have watched or nearly been interested in if not for Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, so the thing is I will admit, Joaquin Phoenix doesn't he doesn't fucking do it for me all the time. But, you know, for a majority of the time, her is one of my favorite movies.
Her is amazing. And,
and yes, you can argue that is because Spike Jonze is an amazing director and writer. But I would also argue it's because... Joaquin Phoenix delivers such a believable performance. Not even an extraordinary one, but a believable one that really pairs well with Scarlett Johansson as this calm, AI. I think he just plays.
And you want to know what the funniest part is? The funniest part is that for I'm pretty sure 90% of that movie at least for what we see of him, he's now reacting to Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, no.
Because you know about the whole thing about the behind the scenes, right? Because that was really supposed to be Samantha Morton doing the voiceover.
Yeah,
and they swapped it out. It was a total last minute shift. They swapped it out for Scarlett Johansson.
I think it's better.
Yeah, no, agree,
I think it's better with
1000%.
Scarlett.
Agree, 1000%. But yeah, so that's so funny that you say
Can't
that.
say that for Lucy.
Yeah, right. Oh my God, don't give me.
We're not talking Lucy.
We're not talking about Lucy. So yeah, so my thing with Venom. So here's my problem with Venom. Venom is.
Well, hold on. Do you want to talk about first your problem with me saying turn my brain off?
Yes.
Movie?
Okay. So
yes,
do that first. So here's my problem: is that the term "turn your brain off" has become an excuse for bad movies.
Yes. No. Okay, I agree.
That's why I have that problem. Because
I
the problem.
wholeheartedly
Okay,
agree.
because you're right. For one thing, you're like, okay, so usually when I typically think of the term "turn your brain off," I associate that with movies that are for the most part good. They just have a few problems that keep them from being
and
great.
that's how I feel about Venom.
And the problem is that is now transitioned from that. That's what it started off as.
Yeah.
It is transitioned from that to now being an excuse for every single shitty CG-filled generic blockbuster under the sun. And it's killing me.
Smallfoot is totally just a turn your brain off movie.
That's the excuse they've used for the last however many goddamn Transformers movies, for the last Jurassic Park, for every single
to be dead honest, the only Transformer movie that mentality works for is the first one, which was legitimately an okay movie, and that's despite Michael Bay and Shia LaBeouf
which
doing
again
everything
has
they could
all
to
of the
fuck
same
it up.
problems that all the sequels do. The difference being that the sequels not only notoriously repeat it, but do nothing to try and change or improve it.
Exactly.
That's why that's why people talk about the problems.
Yes, exactly.
Not because they're there in the first place, because that's fine for one time, but if you acknowledge that they're problems and improve on them, rather than ignore them, and not only ignore them, but blatantly repeating it to the point where you almost feel like you're like the person who's behind it is trolling you. That's the difference, and that's why I hate that term. And that is again a term that I feel like applied to this movie, because again, for what I got, I will definitely say that what I got was a lot better than what I was expecting. Because I was expecting an absolute trash pile. The PG-13 rating, from everything that I'd seen in the trailers, it looked like everything that I didn't like about Amazing Spider-Man 2 that I was going to be worried about. And what I got, while certainly better than what I thought was going to be, still ended up disappointing me.
Really?
And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
It's because I felt like as a superhero movie, compared to what we've been getting for the last couple of years, take Marvel out of the equation, just in terms of the stuff that we've been getting, like your Dark Knight.
Hold on, okay.
Okay.
Real fast, I'm going to cut in for 1 second.
Yes.
Because you used the term superhero movie, and I 100% agree that does apply. But I want you to also look at this movie from the lens of a buddy comedy.
You're right, and the problem is that even on that count, it disappoints me.
Really?
Because the problem
I think it's a great buddy comedy.
Because I want that to be the forefront of the entire movie, and the problem is that's not what it is. Because the movie isn't marketed as the back and forth fun romp between Eddie and the symbiote. It's marketed as Eddie is literally struggling for his identity against this thing that wants to consume him.
I can help you with your point a little bit here. One of the moments that I remember being kind of tired of the film and being like, when they do the chase scene with the motorcycle.
Right.
I literally leaned over to my friend. I went with my friend Jace. I leaned over and I said, Jace, do we really have to do this chase scene right now?
Pretty much. Because it's the same thing with Black Panther. And again, Black Panther, love that movie, but that car chase scene goes on for way too goddamn long.
And it's so, I literally lean over and I'm just like, we know how this is going to end.
Exactly.
Can we just skip this chase
Yeah, pretty
scene,
much.
Please? Can we just and that's the big issue I feel with most of the Sony superhero films. I don't give a fuck about your expensive action sequence.
Exactly.
I don't care. I want the only action sequence in that movie that I was like, this is fucking mind-blowingly amazing is the Riot Venom fight at the end.
Yep. Well, and I have problems with that scene too, because the problem with that scene, so you were complaining about the Oswego Theater having trouble with
I couldn't see a thing.
For that fight, the Venom Riot fight, I literally have no idea what's going on, because it's so colorless, it's such a bland palette, because it's literally black on gray, and they're both so invulnerable that they can't do anything, that literally to the point where the only shot that I think is cool is the shot that, again, was spoiled in all the trailers, where the goo goes exploding, and you see Tom Hardy and Riz Ahmed opposite each other, and that's the only cool part, because that's the only freaking time where I can tell what's happening.
No joke, I think they actually did color correct it they brightened it for the trailer I think that they actually did that because it does not look the same.
It doesn't. Like, not at all.
It's kind of like the same thing
and
they
that's
did
a whole
with
other
the,
thing of where, obviously, how, for me, at least now, what I see in trailers besides just lying to you, that's the trailer's job is to lie to you to get your butt in the seat. But, that's his job. I don't fault the trailer for doing its job. My problem is just blatantly not only telling us the entire movie in the trailer, but also just like, oh, okay, like, why do I need to see it? Like, almost being more interesting than the movie
my
themselves.
concept of how I'm going to market films if I ever get the chance to.
But please, do tell me. I need to hear this.
I am not going to cut together scenes from a movie. I'm going to create commercials as if I was creating a mini movie with these characters. So the movie that we're doing in the spring, I never got to really finish talking about it. It's a darker comedy that takes place, like 70% of it takes place in a car.
Okay.
And I want to take my main characters and just like put them in a situation like they're going through a drive-through and have that be the trailer. And have that comedy back and forth be the trailer. I want that to sell the movie and be like, this is the kind of thing you will
want
see
the tone to
movie.
sell the movie,
yes.
Not the story.
Yeah, entirely.
Oh my god.
Yes. I think
yes.
I think it's such a better way because, I think that's one of the reasons Adrift, the new movie coming out, Adrift, or it probably already came out.
It did. It came out earlier this year and nobody saw it. And
Yeah.
I actually it's so funny too because the fucking spoilers, but I had that entire movie spoiled for me and I'm like, wow, literally don't care at all. The whole twist at the end is that he dies and she's hallucinating that he lived. And that's the twist of that movie.
I saw that coming.
Yeah. Like
the reason I know that is because halfway through the trailer they went through this storm and like he's like dead in the water and she finds him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, so this is what the movie is. I thought they gave away the ending of the movie.
And also, fun fact, but apparently the movie's told, and I didn't know this, but apparently the trailers certainly don't tell you this, but the movie is told out of chronological order. It's
Fuck
told
that.
out, right?
Fuck that.
Right?
That trailer was already too confusing.
Yeah, right?
Fuck that.
Way to take a movie, that should be a simple, straightforward story, complicate it for a trailer, and then complicate it even more for the movie itself. Like, why?
Nope, fuck
no
that.
reason for that at all. But so, like I said, we are unfortunately running out of time. But so, so I just want to do a quick run through of the last.
Yeah,
couple
let's
movies
go.
that have
Let's
come out.
totally
so,
go.
So I just wanted to
was there anything of the subject matter you wanted to hit, like the James Gunn stuff?
So, for right now, we can save that for a later episode, because honestly, what I'm thinking of doing is I actually think that I'm going to take this episode and split it into 2 parts and just record the rest of this stuff at a later date.
Totally.
This is going to be the part 1 of 2.
Oh, I love that.
I've had so much fun just bullshitting back and forth with you.
Absolutely.
Literally, I just kind of want this to be like every episode just going forward. Just Dom and
Hey,
Charlie
man,
sitting
I'll
down
help
and
you
bullshitting
out.
back and forth.
Like,
because
no joke, I'll help you
literally,
out.
this is the most fun that I've had doing podcasting since I started this thing. Like,
That's awesome.
in my hometown. So basically, I just wanted to go over a few points because I have my review for Venom pulled up on my letterbox here. So basically, where again, kind of overall, my ending points with Venom is that it's kind of my opening sentence kind of sums up the entire thing. It's the best superhero movie that 2006 has to offer. Where if I saw this movie in 2006 or 7, I probably would have loved the hell out of it.
I would love to make a counterpoint, because I keep hearing this argument that it's an amazing movie for 2004.
Okay.
This is an amazing movie for 2018. It's just, the script just needed to be better. Everyone's blowing it out of proportion in my mind, that it's like, all the critics especially.
Yes.
And I am just bullshitting. I am just bullshitting about Garrick. I'm sure he's a nice guy.
Oh, I was directed that at me. So that's
no.
that.
I want to say directly to Garrick. I'm sure you're a nice guy. I'm sure you should continue to look at movies through an artistic lens, especially if that's your style. I have no problem with that. My problem is that if you look at a movie and you try to go, this movie is straight out of 2004 and the script is out of no, it's not. It's out of 2018. It's just the script is kind of a bit dated and bad,
right?
And just needs to be updated. And I think, like you said, movies that don't go on to change the problems of the last movie, Justice League, Suicide Squad. Movies that don't go on to change the problems with their prequels end up continuing to just get worse. However, I feel as though in the next Venom movie they make, because they're gonna make.
They are going to make it because this one is surprisingly making a lot of freaking money, and that's so funny too because one of my points that I bring up because I was convinced this movie was gonna bomb in my review is directed at that, so that's so funny too.
Because the fans love it.
Yeah.
Because it is not a critic's film. The fans love it. I recommend anyone who likes Spider-Man in general, or just superheroes in general, or just anyone who has an affinity for sort of this type of thing, go and see it. I guarantee you'll love it.
So here's my question then. So Venom does well because the fans love it. Amazing Spider-Man 2 did 800 million worldwide, and 800 million worldwide, and that doesn't get a sequel. Why?
Because the studio was having problems with Andrew Garfield, and he would not return, and they will not do a sequel with their main.
Oh, see, I thought it was the Sony hack. Because last I checked, Andrew Garfield was perfectly willing to come back for another one. That's the only thing.
He was willing. They were not willing to have him back. There are so many stories off of that set of like, they were so mad with Andrew Garfield that they would not bring him back. So
they didn't like his take on the character.
I think so, which I disagree with because I think he was an amazing Spider-Man.
Agree. I like his performance.
I don't think it was a good Peter Parker.
I think his take for just that whole character in general is just messed up, and just the whole take he did. But I like the take that he did. Looking at it as a different take on a character that we are very associated with, I enjoyed it. My problems are for the most part technical, and again, I just feel bad for poor Mark Webb with those movies because Mark Webb, especially after seeing 500 Days of Summer, which is one of the best rom-coms I've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
So
my thing is, I'm going to make a statement that is not going out on a limb here because it's true. Best Peter Parker of all time.
Tom Holland.
Nope.
Really?
Tobey Maguire, best Peter Parker of all time. He played the nerd aspect perfectly. I don't think Tom Holland does quite the nerd aspect perfectly.
Okay, and you don't think that has to do with the date thing of 2002 versus a 2017?
No, I think it has to do with the fact,
nerd.
especially if you're... No, I don't. Especially if you're taking... Because after Venom, I downloaded Comixology and I'm doing my free month of it.
Okay.
And I'm reading all the original Spider-Mans currently. And Peter Parker's a whiny bitch. Peter Parker is not a great character. He whines and complains about so much stuff. And I think Tobey Maguire did that perfectly. Andrew Garfield is an amazing Spider-Man, but Tom Holland is an amazing all-around.
Encapsulation of everything.
He encapsulates the perfect combination of a Peter Parker and Spider-Man and the struggles of living both those lives. I think that is what Tom Holland does perfectly. And so who is my favorite Spider-Man? It's Tom Holland. It's without a doubt Tom Holland in the character in the whole.
Right.
It's Tom Holland, and I think he does an amazing job.
Got it.
And I can't wait to see Tom Hardy and Tom Holland doing Venom meets Spider-Man.
And you think now that in
2020.
So you think that the double entendre there is going to be Venom makes a lot of money, so Sony tries to launch their own universe off that, then Marvel swoops in, buys that, and now because of the PG-13 rating allows Venom to factor into the MCU.
I completely disagree. I think it is going to be... I don't completely disagree. I disagree on certain points. They're going to do their Sinister Six movie. That's not going to go as well.
For Marvel.
For Sony. I don't think Sony's going to do a good job with their Sinister Six movie. I think Venom is a one-off sort of out-of-the-park hit for them.
Okay.
In terms of their superhero department.
See, that's the funny thing because the whole thing is that, at least, correct me if I'm wrong, but to my knowledge, Sinister Six was part of the original plan when they were back doing the Spider-Man verse. To my knowledge, I don't think Sony is planning on doing a Sinister Six movie. They were planning on, so they were going to do a Venom versus Carnage movie, some sort of a Riot or another symbiote spin-off, and a Morbius spin-off. Is to my knowledge what they were going to do. I didn't know Sinister Six was back in the plans. I know that's what Marvel's obviously trying to build towards with its Spider-Man side of things, just because of all the people they're bringing in. So it just stands to reason that
you've got Vulture.
You got Gyllenhaal coming in as Mysterio for Far From Home.
You've also got in the post-credits of Spider-Man Homecoming, the guy has the Scorpion tattoo. I can't remember the actor.
What's his name? Nacho from Better Call Saul. Michael Mando is the actor's name. Because he's the Scorpion. He is Matt Gargan. He is the Scorpion.
Exactly. And so... I think Marvel is setting this thing up and trying to beat them to whatever characters they can license first, and it's this race. But Sony's going to beat them in the sense that they've already got the licenses for the Green Goblin and Venom and all of these iconic sort of Doc Ock, iconic sort of Spider-Man villains. So they're going to make a better Sinister Six movie character-wise, but it's going to flop. And then Marvel is going to offer them the same thing they offered them after The Amazing Spider-Man 2 flopped and go, how about this? We co-make them, and you just license us the characters, and you guys still get to put your logos and get paid.
Right.
Because the one thing that I always get hit in the face with when I watch Spider-Man Homecoming for the 20,000th time,
Right.
because I love it, is the Columbia TriStar originally the Sony logo.
Yep.
That comes up right before the Marvel logo. I go, oh right, this was a Sony film technically.
Yep. Technically it was. It was.
It's a Sony film that was licensed out to Marvel.
Yep.
And it was done with Marvel people.
Yep.
But it was
still a Sony movie.
It's marketed through Sony.
Yep.
And so that's where I stand on that. I think what'll happen is Marvel is just biding its time until Sony fucks up again, which they will do.
Which they will.
They fucked up they did a great job on Amazing Spider-Man 1, and then they fucked it up. They did a great job on Spider-Man 2, and then they fucked it up.
They do nothing but fuck up.
Yeah.
And then controversially, for some reason, like I said, outside of the live action, all these other studios are kicking Marvel's asses in terms of because every single animated superhero movie, Lego Batman, awesome.
What are your thoughts on the releases of whatever they've released of the new Titans thing? The new Titans show, Teen Titans, the new...
Oh, I haven't watched it. It looks awful, though.
So the thing is...
Awful.
The thing is, I have the opposite opinion. I think that the Teen Titans show is a great rival, especially now that Marvel is canceling off all these Netflix shows.
Really? Okay,
yes,
we'll have to get into that in the later episode.
Absolutely, yeah.
So what I want to talk about in order to kind of close this off is Halloween. So
I'm going to see that this weekend with my mother and stepfather.
All right. So without spoiling anything, it is the most typical.
Have you seen it already?
Yeah, I watched it. It is the most typical cliched slasher movie that I've seen. Now, here's the thing to also keep in mind. I've seen the original Halloween and everything. I am not a fan of the slasher genre.
That's fair.
I am not a fan of the slasher genre because you know why? Because it utilized. But I also think that just speaks to myself because I always say I don't like horror. That doesn't mean I don't like scary things. I don't like the cheapness of it because so many horror movies I feel like fall back on the cheapness. But here's the problem.
You recognize the iconicness of some of these movies.
Yes, but here's the problem. That does nothing for me because I don't look at. But for me at least, I've gotten to a point now where I look past it. It's like okay, regardless of how iconic this person is, for me the only thing that makes it iconic is the fact that it has something good to back it up. And if it has nothing great or unique to back it up, like I'm sorry, but Freddy Krueger and him being the iconic thing, I've never seen a single Nightmare on Elm Street movie in my life. But here's the thing. So if I watch...
So then you don't talk about Nightmare on Elm Street, motherfucker.
You're right. You're right. You're absolutely right. And that's not the point that I'm bringing up. I'm bringing up is that if I watch Nightmare on Elm Street and the film itself is not good enough to back up Freddy Krueger's iconic status to me, then I'm sorry, Freddy Krueger is not an iconic status to me. He's just some motherfucker that kills people in their dreams.
Okay, well, so here's my
and that becomes a gimmick, not an awesome thing to me.
Okay, so yes, it does become a gimmick in the sequels. In the first movie, as someone who has seen every slasher movie, and I'm talking every, I've seen every Halloween, I have seen every Friday the 13th, I've seen every Nightmare on Elm Street, I skipped Hellraiser because fuck it, I don't care.
Okay.
And I've seen every Saw movie.
I've seen the first two, not a fan.
But the first one changed... The first one I recognize and give credit for changing the game, but outside of that, again, just for the filmmaking itself, it's not that well made a film. That's fair. Yeah, but it's also made for less than $1 million.
Exactly, but that's fine though because again, that movie has no budget. So that's all relative.
So I will admit that Halloween after the first one blows ass.
Yeah, which is from everything that what I've heard.
Yeah, so Halloween after the first movie is not that great. The second one is okay because Jamie Lee Curtis comes back and John Carpenter still wrote it. He didn't direct it, but he wrote it. Then Halloween 3 has nothing to do with Michael Myers. He's not in the movie. The only thing that is Halloween related, because they were trying to do an anthology thing.
Okay.
And so the third movie, the only thing that you see Halloween-wise in that movie is the trailer for the first Halloween is playing on a TV in a bar in the movie.
Okay.
So it's trying to make it seem like...
But it's still Michael Myers. So what is it?
He's not in the movie. He's not in the third movie.
At all?
No. The third movie, the villain is Silver Shamrock Mask Making Corporation and Toy Company. And they sell these Halloween masks that kill kids and turn them into hosts for like parasites and snakes and shit, which then of course kill the parents.
Right.
And their goal is to basically cause the apocalypse through their masks.
Okay.
It is not a good movie.
So it
is not a good movie.
Okay, I was about to say, I was gonna bite and say, why the fuck is it called Halloween then? And then I'm
Because
saying other than shameless brand usage.
No. So it is literally because the original purpose of after Halloween 2, the original purpose was to turn the Halloween anthology into like this sort of like scary things to tell in the dark, or like Tales from the Crypt. Like if you were to read a book of like an R.L. Stine compilation book,
right?
It's like not every story is the same, but they all kind of exist in the same universe in a certain way.
Okay, got it. So it was trying to almost pull like a Black Mirror thing, like a Twilight Zone kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
exactly.
all right,
Twilight Zone, Black Mirror.
All right, I can dig it.
And it's not good. Like, it's not good.
All I know is about all those sequels that came out is that there's one, I don't remember which one it is, but I've seen clips of it all the time because Double Toasted roasts this movie to all high hell. It's the one where Michael Myers literally gets his ass kicked by Busta Rhymes.
Yeah, that's Halloween Resurrection. No, it's either Halloween Resurrection.
I think it's Halloween Resurrection.
Or it's H2O.
No, it's not H2O because H2O I watched a Everything Wrong With
I was gonna say
Cinema Sins video for that.
I was gonna say because H2O is the one with Ludacris, who acts as the security guard for Jamie Lee Curtis comes back in H2O, and
because that's the 20-year anniversary one.
Yeah, and so it also causes so much confusion. I'm gonna spoil H2O.
That's fine. I already watched Cinema Sins video. That movie's been spoiled for me.
So okay, but for anyone who doesn't want to spoil H2O, which came out 20 years ago.
Halloween H2O. Ooh.
Yeah, it came out 20 years ago. If you haven't watched it yet, that's your fucking fault.
Yeah.
She chops his fucking head off with an axe at the end.
Yep, I remember seeing that.
And so the thing that bothers me about that is I understand that this new one is literally getting rid of the 2nd to fucking 8th movie or 9th movie.
Right.
But if you're gonna write stuff out of canon, and you've got a character like Michael Myers who is known to come back from literally being mutilated, you almost can't do a new Halloween movie.
Yes, and that's probably my biggest
spoils.
problem. No spoilers.
Because I gotta see it with my mom.
So I'll tell you. So I'll tell you one problem because again, I'm not a horror fan at all. So maybe you can shed some light and give me a new opinion. So basically, to close this thing off, Michael Myers' invulnerability. As somebody who has only seen the first Halloween and
you don't even know. They blow this motherfucker up in the second movie.
Can you explain to me? Because here's the problem. So this movie, what I will say without spoiling anything, like that's not telling you any plot details. This movie goes out of its way, to establish Michael Myers is not supernatural
a joke.
in any way, shape, or form.
Okay.
This motherfucker gets stabbed in the eye,
Here.
shot 6 times in the chest.
It's basically
fucking, look what? And keeps going.
I got you.
How?
I got you. It's basically a joke that John Carpenter started to tell back in 1978, where in the first movie he had him get shot 7 times actually.
7 times, right? And then
with
they look out
7 times with a 6-shooter.
with a 6
That's
shooter.
the big joke.
And the whole movie
and he
ends.
gets
Look
up,
outside and he's gone. The body's gone.
But okay,
and that's the whole thing.
I'm gonna blow your mind. Are you ready?
Okay, yes, please.
There was
Explain this
never
to me.
supposed to be sequels. They were never planning to make any other fucking Halloween movie after the first one.
Right.
It was just gonna end on that creepy thought of like, oh my god, he's not dead. He could still be out there, and that would have been it. And that would have been the fucking end of it.
I'm starting to see it now.
And then
because I'm thinking about that movie with no sequels, with no thought of what's coming afterwards, and the kind of fear
and
that
then,
is
hold on.
okay.
So I'm going to talk to you about the second one, because then the second one, they decided, they were like, hey John, we're going to make a second
because
one.
the first one made a shit ton of money.
First one made a shit ton of money. It invented a genre.
Pretty much, because you would agree Halloween is the one that invented the slasher genre, right? Because Halloween is borrowing a lot of things that Psycho did a decade and a half earlier.
Psycho is not a slasher film.
Agreed. Because that's not a slasher movie. That is a psychological thriller.
It is a psychological thriller with stabbing.
Yes.
That's all that makes it a slasher film. Anywho, the second movie is literally, it takes place right after, and so they were just like, let's make a sequel. And John was like, I don't want to make a fucking sequel. I wanted it to just be this thing.
Right, like I wanted people to legitimately have this feeling walking away, which is why I specifically came up with this ending.
I want to go make the thing. I don't want to do this.
Right.
And so they're like, okay, well, so then we'll have someone else make it because we're not capitalizing on this. And he goes, okay, I'll write it for you. I don't have time to direct it, but I'll write it.
Right.
And he writes this script, and it basically turns into this fucking joke where Michael Myers in the next movie gets shot in the eyes, blinded, and there's a scene of him walking around blind trying to stab and slash at Jamie Lee Curtis and
Donald Pleasance.
Donald Pleasance, thank you.
As Loomis.
As Loomis. I was gonna just say Loomis, but I wanted to say the actor's name. Donald Pleasance and Jamie Lee Curtis, and he's just like fucking swinging at him, blind. He's been shot, he's been stabbed, he's been shot, he's been stabbed. Nothing's killing this dude. So they blow him up by leaking gas into the room from oxygen tanks.
God.
And Donald Pleasance blows himself up with Michael because he lights a lighter. Now, if you ask me, how the fuck Donald Pleasance shows back up in the 4th through 6th movie, I couldn't fucking tell ya. I don't know. I don't fucking know. Because, yeah, Michael Myers is indestructible, but so is fucking Loomis, apparently. So it's a joke. John Carpenter made this joke, and they just rolled with it.
Okay.
Jason has some cult shit going on with him.
Right.
You know,
right, like
Freddy Krueger is literally a demon.
Right, Freddy Krueger's a demon, and again the whole thing, because again the Friday the 13th thing I can see is similar to Halloween, because the whole thing about the original Friday the 13th, that's not Jason in the first one, it's his mom. Yeah. So that's what excuses Jason for me.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. So now that I know that, that's all great, and that excuses it for the original. That helps me with the original.
Does that help with the new movie?
Not one bit, because I'll tell you why. I'm not going to spoil anything, but remember that thing you just told me about Loomis leaking O2 and literally blowing up Michael?
Yep.
I'm going to leave it at that.
Okay. Well, so the thing is I understand it. I'm pretty, if I'm not mistaken, this new movie that's coming out also wipes 2 out of existence.
This movie wipes everything out of existence.
Except for the first one.
Except for the first
because
one.
Because they talk about the 78 murders.
You're right. This movie wipes out every single movie other than the first one out of canon and continuity.
Okay, so this, basically in the canon, this new one is
40 years after the original,
but it's
and nothing has happened since
Halloween 2.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes. Okay. And that's all you need to know. And now here's what I'll say. My problems: nostalgia for nostalgia's sake, or member berries, as South Park likes to coin it. Member berries. Right down to literal sequences that are pulled from the original, whether it be clips from the original that they added into this one, or just sequences that they replicate right from the first one. Unintentional bits of comedy that not only feel out of place, but also help to change this movie and be like, okay, what? And at other points when the comedy does work, I'm like, okay, why am I not watching this movie? Because there's a couple of kid characters in this movie that literally are basically like Lil Howard's role that he played in Get Out, where they're basically the embodiment of the audience in the entire movie. We're screaming about all the stupid decisions that they make, and then they're either gone or killed off within like 2 minutes of their introduction, and it just throws the whole tone of this movie for a loop.
That's so interesting.
Every single character in this movie, outside of Jamie Lee Curtis, feels like they're just there to take off space. And it's so weird, too, because you know how we always talk about the rules of slasher movies, for lack of a better word, and how the entire reason for Cabin in the Woods existed is because Cabin in the Woods, Cabin in the Woods and Scream is fooling around with and making fun of those rules. Yeah. So this movie, I feel like, is trying to be self-aware about it, but the problem is it doesn't really set a stance of what the rules are, because Michael goes from literally, without spoiling anything, literally goes from killing kids, like little kids, like 12-year-old, 13-year-old kids, like without any thought or hesitation whatsoever. And I'm not talking teenagers, I'm talking little kids.
Yeah.
But then he just passes by a screaming baby's crib like nothing. Like doesn't even acknowledge it.
Well, so this might help with that a little bit, because we just, like I said, we did Halloween and Halloween 2 versus Halloween and Halloween 2, the Rob Zombie remake.
Right, the Rob Zombie remake.
For our next show, we're actually recording that podcast tomorrow.
Okay.
And, which, by the way, Halloween 2, the Rob Zombie film, is literally something I've pulled out of my butthole. It is the most disgusting, not good, piece of shit movie. I hate it so much. I hate it so much. But, that aside, the Rob Zombie remake of Halloween 1, however, I love. I think it's actually a great continuation, and it tells the story, it focuses more on Michael as a child, and I think that is exactly what you need to do if you're going to remake Halloween.
Right. 'Cause that's the only thing new and interesting that you can do with it.
And Rob Zombie does an amazing job. He makes me feel for characters who aren't even mentioned in the first movie. So I will say go watch Halloween 1, the Rob Zombie remake. I think it's good. I also understand and recognize it has flaws. Anywho, one of the big things that you find out in the sequel is, well, and I guess you already know this because you've seen the new movie, Jamie Lee Curtis is Michael Myers' sister.
Right, that's the whole thing that's established. And that's so funny too because there's literally a line in this new movie that counteracts that. And you saw that in all the trailers where it's like, hey, wasn't she his sister? And she's like, no, that was just something that some people made up to try and get famous or something.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, it's like that one line that basically like, okay, and with that one line...
Wait, so is it not true in the now canon?
It's not true. Yeah, because like I said, it only goes off the first movie canon. And the first movie, like, she's not his sister at all. Like, he murdered his sister.
Oh, okay, cool. So because in the second movie of the original series, Michael Myers, like, you find that out and you see a shot of, like, after he committed the murder or something like that, Jamie Lee Curtis being like, Michael, that's not... You shouldn't have, like, and it's like and then in this Rob Zombie remake, it's like, she has this, like, he loves his little sister, and that's why he loves the baby, and so I was thinking maybe that has something to do with it, but now I don't even fucking know.
Yeah, no, because like I said, this movie is ignoring every single continuity, all the sequels, the Rob Zombie movies, everything. It is only going based off the first movie, and that is it.
So then, that explains no reason of why... That explains nothing anymore.
You're like, everything is nothing.
Oh my god, Dom, you spoiled the movie for me!
And on that note, thank you all for listening. This has been
see you
the
in the
episode
next part.
of the Movie Nerd, Laker Movie Nerd Review Podcast, whatever the fuck I decided to call this. Whatever I decided to call this. I am Dom. So, Charlie, before you get out of here, do you want to tell the good people where to find you online and on the interwebs and everything?
Oh my god, just search Resident Court Jester in anything you type in, or Clipsters, or whatever. Those are all my social media names. If you want to listen to me and my friend rant about movies, we don't have a lot of episodes, but we're working on that. Burnt Popcorn on WNYO's website, or also on YouTube soon. You can find us on SoundCloud and all that. But fuck me! Seriously?
Yep. And you can find me on Twitter and YouTube for @Movie Nerd Reviews, Facebook Dominic Rizzi, Instagram @Dominic Rizzi, and also if you're in anywhere near the Oswego area, pick up a copy of the Oswegonian, specifically the Lake Review. That is my section that I am the editor for. That is it. We will see you guys next time.
Oswegonian. Always support the Oswegonian.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
Say what again? Say what again?
Why so serious?
Watch what happens. Well, what happened is this bull would go right through your fucking head. Watch what happens.
I am the one who knocks.